CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's the NFL on CBS Week 4, and we join you today from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Heinz Field. The Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. If everything goes according to plan, this is the first of many head-to-head matchups between two young quarterbacks, Roethlisberger and Palmer.
Two young quarterbacks with two different set of circumstances. Roethlisberger is aided by a really good defense and an excellent running game. Carson Palmer, however, doesn't have that strong defense. He does not have the luxury of leaning on that defense to win this game.
Quite a switch for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A week ago, they were in the middle of Hurricane Gene in South Florida. 13-3 victory in Miami. Today, excellent conditions for the Steelers and the Bengals. Pittsburgh native Marvin Lewis grew up 13 miles outside of downtown in McDonald, Pennsylvania. His parents and sisters still live in the area. And Bill Cowher. Cowher and Lewis go all the way back to their Pop Warner days, played against one another, high school football, and then Lewis served under Cowher when Cowher took over the Steelers 13 years ago. Steelers on the receiving end, Shane Graham to Antoine Randall El. Here's Randall El across the 20, the 25, finds a crease to the 35, and that's where the Steelers will have it. After the 29-yard return, Elton Patterson on special teams makes the stop. Ben Roethlisberger, rookie quarterback, not something the Steelers have been accustomed to in their starting lineup. Have to go back to Bubby Brister the last time the Steelers had a starter at QB. Marvell Smith, left tackle, challenged today going up against Justin Smith of Cincinnati. Backs and receivers, Deuce Staley. First 100-yard game as a Steeler last week in that win over Miami. Three receivers set to open up. Hines Ward, the motion man, handed off to Staley. And he gets a yard to the 36. Terrell Roberts, first man there. Defensively for Cincinnati, the challenge, stopping the run. John Thornton will try to handle Staley up the middle. In that 4-3 set, a lot of pressure on Caleb Miller, a rookie from Arkansas, starting at middle linebacker. Nate Webster done for the year with a knee injury. And in the secondary, they've had to mix and match. Rogers Beckett returning from some post-concussion syndrome symptoms. He is back. Madieu Williams shifts over to free safety for the injured Kim Herring. Ball is now spotted on the 37. On the handoff, shake and bake. Staley finds a lane, flag down as Staley falls forward across the 45. Penalty marker, first round run, if it stands, of 11 yards. Terry McCauley, the referee today.
Holding, offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Kedrick Vincent, who has been a solid backup, but forced into starting duties because of Kendall Simmons' diabetes. So back it up. Steelers, first 3 weeks, 2-1. The blemish, week 2 against Baltimore.
Yeah, and Ben Roethlisberger has faced a couple of really good defenses in Baltimore and Miami over the last couple of weeks. So feels like he has a firm grasp on what the Bengals want to do with their zone blitz defense.
Last week, he felt like the inevitable had been prolonged because of the weather conditions, pushing back the start of the game in Miami to 8:30. Roethlisberger slings it high, but on time for Hines Ward. Madieu Williams with the stop, 7-yard gain for Pittsburgh.
Now, Roethlisberger has impressed me over the last couple of weeks. Here he's going to find Hines Ward, who just sits down in the soft spot of that zone, ran by the Bengals defense. But, you know, he's throwing interceptions early last week against the Dolphins, did so 2 weeks ago against Baltimore. Only thing he did was come back, kept his composure, and began to make plays. So he's just shown that he doesn't have the ability to get frustrated, that he does stay poised and is able to make plays down the stretch.
His first home start as a pro after winning on the road last week, and now facing a 3rd and 8. Handles the pressure and is not on the mark for Randall L. Too high for the receiver to handle. And Pittsburgh forced a punt. It's 4th down.
There was also some pressure coming off that backside, forcing Roethlisberger to get rid of the ball, but that ball did sail high on him. And we said that he tends to struggle in the early beginning, has to settle down, but he has shown that he can bounce back.
Chris Gardocki, 200th career game in the NFL. He is punting to T.J. Houshmandzadeh. High punt, Houshmandzadeh backpedals to the 13. Makes a move up the middle, leaves his feet and goes to the 30-yard line where he is finally brought down. He knew he had extra yardage in front of him but could not maintain his footing. Verron Haynes making the stop on special teams. Carson Palmer had one of those starts that you'll see with first-year quarterbacks. Did some good things last week, but had a lot of negative moments as well, including 3 interceptions in the home loss to Baltimore. Starting up front, Levi Jones, the left tackle, left the game in the 4th quarter last week with a strained right knee, but he is in there. Rich Bram continues to sit out. Jerry Fontenot gets the start at center. No Peter Warrick, he's got a shin injury. So T.J. Houshmandzadeh, coming off one of his most productive days as a pro, is a starter at the other receiver with Chad Johnson. On 1st down, Palmer, protection is there. Airing it out, first play from scrimmage, and it's incomplete. Looking to connect with the streaker Cliff Russell, who has got major speed.
Well, they told us about Cliff Russell. He's working down the field deep. That's what they want to do. They want to take some shots and try to get on top of this Steelers defense early in the game.
Steelers defensively, the former Bengal Kimo von Oelhoffen, a big key in this 3-4 defensive alignment. James Farrier, more pressure on him because of the injury to Kendrell Bell. And in the secondary, Deshae Townsend had a pick last week. He's got 2 on the season. Handoff, Rudy Johnson trying to break free. He does. Able to handle that initial wave. Chris Hope takes him down after the acceleration. 6-yard gain for Rudy. First 3 games for Cincinnati looked good in that loss to the Jets. They back it up with a close victory over Miami, but last week not much went well for the Bengals.
The key factor in both losses, Curtis Martin, 196 yards rushing in week 1. Jamal Lewis, 186 yards rushing this defense last week. Miami has no running game to mention, so I think that's really the true factor.
And they have gone 30 possessions now without an offensive touchdown. This is number 31. Palmer looking to change that, cannot. Misfires to T.J. Houshmandzadeh in coverage with Deshae Townsend. And the Bengals will punt after their first possession.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis would have liked to see his offense get off to a much faster start. We told you Palmer was going to have to get off to a quick start by hitting some plays down the field. They misfired on their first play to Cliff Russell, and I thought he had an excellent opportunity to come down with that football.
Kyle Larson averaging just over 43 yards per punt. Antoine Randall L. is waiting for Pittsburgh at his own 22. Here's Larson. Spiraling kick. Randall L. waits for it. Catches at the 19. And tripped up. A flag down. May have been an illegal block. Reggie Miles able to fire through to make the play on special teams. Penalty marker came down very quickly. And we once again hear from Terry McAuliffe.
There's no foul for an illegal block in the back. Timeout.
No foul, and not much of a return either. Good play by Miles. A timeout. Early first quarter here in Pittsburgh. Steelers and Bengals are scoreless. 68th all-time meeting between these two franchises. Steelers lead the all-time series with a mark of 39-28. And Pittsburgh opens up in its base offense at the 19. Handed off. Deuce Staley, shake and bake. Staley breaking to the clear, and the ball is stripped away. Bouncing around the 27-yard line. Bengals have it. Cincinnati recovers as Caleb Miller covers up after the Staley miscue.
Well, if you can't defend the run, if you're going to allow the runner to get in the open field, then you better try to get the ball out. And there you see the strip by Deltha O'Neal, number 24, the cornerback. Just a good heads-up play. Anytime you come in from the backside on the ball carrier, You want to make the tackle, but you also want to go for the ball. And that's just a heads-up veteran play by the corner, Deltha O'Neal.
Cincinnati a week ago -2 in their turnover ratio in that loss to Baltimore. They get an early turnover here. Double tight end set. And a 1st and 10 for Cincinnati. Handoff. Ball pops loose. And it was ruled down as Farrior came up with it. Well, Cincinnati, a near mistake there. Rudy Johnson unable to break free, and a loss of 3.
Well, Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, he knows this Cincinnati Bengals football team very well. They're going to try to penetrate and hit the gaps, force the running game to bounce. Kimo von Oelhoffen that time was the guy who got into the backfield.
Ball spotted on the 30. Movement and a flag down. Rudy Johnson spun down quickly. Penalty markers as Troy Polamalu was there.
Offside. Defense. Number 91. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It was Aaron Smith on the left side of that Pittsburgh defensive line.
Well, this defense is playing really fast, and I want you to watch as the day goes on how well Pittsburgh plays up front, how they look to create a new line of scrimmage in the Bengals backfield, and then watch the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line as they're getting pushed off the ball, because I think you're going to notice the difference between the two.
Chris Perry, the rookie from Michigan, seeing action here. Palmer throwing. It is Perry with the catch. Perry has been aching to get on the football field. The 1st-round pick. Slashing style. 22-year-old.
Defense. Number 91. Penalties decline. 1st down.
That's back-to-back on Aaron Smith. An 11-yard gain, enough for a 1st down for Cincinnati.
So we're already starting to see some of the maturity with Carson Palmer. He knows this defense of Dick LeBeau wants to get penetration. They're coming fast, so you see the hard count by Carson in drawing Aaron Smith off the ball.
And the first touch in the NFL career of Chris Perry. And a 1st and 10. New set of downs for Cincinnati. Pitch. Rudy Johnson angling towards the sideline, and Polamalu came flying over to make the tackle. It's a gain of 2.
Troy Polamalu, 1st-round draft pick out of USC 1 year ago. He's a fast-flowing safety, very aggressive, and they know he wants to get his nose up to the line of scrimmage, wants to support in the run. So watch, they may play action fake him because they know he's very aggressive at defending the run.
And a former roommate at USC of Carson Palmer. Palmer told us Polamalu, he didn't make much of a mess. Neat freak. Handoff. Rudy Johnson busting his way through. And Johnson out near 1st down yardage. Looked to come up a little short. Jeremy Johnson with a big block. It's a 7-yard gain.
Well, watch off the left tackle. It's going to happen right over there. That's where they're coming. And see, watch the yards after contact, the strong leg driving power of Rudy Johnson. You know, Willie Anderson, the right tackle, told us we have to begin to get big yards, particularly on 1st down. You see, they're in a 3rd and 1 situation. That's how they're going to help the young quarterback.
3rd and 1 for Cincinnati. Rudy Johnson through the gut for a 1st down. A 4-yard gain and a 1st and goal for the Bengals.
The running game of the Cincinnati Bengals hasn't really gotten off to a good start, not like what they had anticipated, and that's the help that Carson Palmer is going to need from. And you know, it was Willie Anderson who told us we need the other 10 guys on the offense to step up in terms of getting touchdowns. They haven't scored a touchdown in 30 consecutive possessions, and here's an opportunity for them.
1st and goal for Cincinnati, looking to get on the board. Palmer throws, complete, touchdown. Jeremy Johnson, the fullback, and Cincinnati strikes first.
We told you it was about the play action fake, the running game, and you see they'll slip Johnson out as everyone comes running up to the line of scrimmage. He just slips out in the corner of the end zone, and he's wide open. You see Joey Porter, 55, he's up around the line of scrimmage expecting a run play, and not many people expect him to throw it to the big fullback, Jeremy Johnson, for a touchdown.
2nd catch of the season for Johnson, his 1st touchdown. Palmer, his 3rd touchdown as a pro, and Shane Graham on for the extra point. So after the turnover from Deuce Staley, Cincinnati takes advantage. And just as they discussed getting off to the early lead, they've got it right now. 7-0 Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service. KFC. Try the Game Bucket deal, available only in Chicken Capital USA. And by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
First offensive touchdown for the Cincinnati Bengals since the season opener against the Jets. They went 31 possessions without getting into the end zone. They changed that there.
But we talk about quarterbacks getting help from the defense, and that's what Deltha O'Neal did for Carson Palmer. Shorten the field by getting the turnover, makes it easy to score a touchdown.
Shane Graham kicking it off. Antoine Randall, the return man, in stride from the 10. Randall has got a lane and tripped up as he crosses the 40. It was Graham, the kicker, that ranged over to make the play. A 34-yard return. Steelers have good field position. Deuce Staley will look to rebound when we come back. 6 teams remain undefeated in the NFL. Solomon, you and I had a chance to see Jacksonville last week improve to 3-0, and they're doing it with their defense. Same philosophy Jack Del Rio has as Marvin Lewis. Going to get your thoughts on the Bengals defense after this play. Handed off, Deuce Staley. Staley shedding tacklers and brings it out to midfield into Cincinnati territory. Medea Williams, first man there. Same thought process, same philosophy. Obviously, Jacksonville's having success. Cincinnati is not. Your thoughts?
You know, Jack Del Rio learned from Marvin Lewis when he was a linebacker coach with the Baltimore Ravens when they had Tony Siragusa and Sam Adams, the 2 big defensive tackles. Took that same scheme to Jacksonville, where they now have Marcus Stroud, John Henderson. Everything starts up front defensively with their 2 defensive tackles, something Marvin Lewis would like to do, doesn't quite have the personnel. 2nd and 5 now after the 5-yard run by Staley. Out of the shotgun, fake the handoff. Roethlisberger steps and throws. Wide open. Plexico Burress. And forced out of bounds by Torrey James. What a move Burress puts on Torrey James. Look on the left-hand side. He's going to run that post corner. See him come inside. See him, the separation as he bends it back toward the sideline. And James not able to close, giving too much cushion to Burress. And that's what they want to use Burress to get vertical up the field. Hines Ward, more the possession receiver. Plexico Burress has yet to really get going so far this year.
A 30-yard reception, setting up a 1st and 10 at the 19 of Cincinnati. Handed off, coming around the corner, Antoine Randall. Shake and bake move to the outside. James with the stop as he broke it into the secondary for an 8-yard pickup.
And now you're starting to see the offensive coordinator, Ken Whisenhunt, because see him right here, he's coming around. That's on the reverse. Antoine Randall. When you see him coming across the formation, you got to stay disciplined. Justin Smith, number 90, the defensive tackle, loses contain on the backside. So Ken Whisenhunt, it starts with the running game, different formations where you're going to get some trick plays, much like what we saw with Mike Mularkey.
And a 2nd and 2. Kreider in the backfield with Staley. On the toss, Staley with a head of steam. Cuts it upfield. Staley remains on his feet. Brought down inside the 5. On that right side, Kedrick Vincent pulling number 68.
It's all about the power running game of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is what Bill Cowher said he wanted to get back to, running downhill. You see the Bengals getting knocked off the ball, players going backwards, and that's what we talked about. Watch how fast the defensive front for Pittsburgh plays, creating another line of scrimmage, and then the Bengals defensive front getting knocked off the ball and moving backwards towards the end zone, something you don't want to do.
Jerome Bettis in the backfield. A 3 tight end formation. Steelers looking for the equalizer. 1st and goal from the 2. Handed off. Bettis. He's in. Touchdown, Steelers.
Wow. Way too easy.
What an answer by Pittsburgh. 4th touchdown of the season for the Bucs.
5 plays. They go 54 yards. Jerome Bettis walks right through the middle of the Cincinnati Bengals defense in for a touchdown. And he's, become more of a specialty short yardage and goal line back, and he's easy money once he gets around that goal line.
For the point after, Jeff Reed with Gardocki holding Mike Schneck, the snapper. And Reed ties it up. It's 7-7 here in the 1st. Jerome Bettis He only gained 15 yards this season. He's got 4 touchdowns.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the NFL. Is it in you?
A complete changing of the guard here in Pittsburgh with the running game. Last year, Amos Zaraway took over as the starter. Bettis replaced him. This year, it is Deuce Staley's job as the main back, but Bettis, he's getting into the end zone.
Everyone on this Pittsburgh Steelers offense has a role. You know, Bettis is that goal line back, and Deuce is the primary guy. And even the receivers have said, Burris and Hines Ward, the possession guy, the vertical guy, and you could expect Antoine Randall to come with the trick stuff. He's a former college quarterback. Look for him to do something extra special. But they have so many different weapons, but I think they're easy to key in on because every guy has an individual role.
Steelers play at home in 4 of their next 5 games, including this one, so a chance to maybe string some victories together and make a statement in the AFC North along with Baltimore. Reed kicking off to Kenny Watson on the return. Watson to the 20. And Watson is tripped up at the 25. Some pushing and shoving after the play. Cincinnati on offense when we come back to Pittsburgh. The number 11 pick in this year's draft, Ben Roethlisberger, going head-to-head for the first time with the number 1 pick in the 2003 draft, Carson Palmer. And it's 7-7 with 5:47 to go in the first quarter. Fake the handoff. Palmer steps up, throwing the long ball down the middle, and it's incomplete. Flag thrown. Russell sold that one like a trained actor.
Well, I think Chad Scott is a little guilty of using that arm bar to slow up the receiver on that play. Again, wanting to go to Cliff
That's
Russell.
interference. Defense. Number 30. Automatic. First down.
Chad Scott incredulous. Let's take a look.
He's working against Cliff Russell, and from what I've been told, see the double move there? Cliff Russell has been killing all the Bengals defensive backs in practice for the last couple of weeks. And see the arm bar? Is this egregious? I don't know, but yet and still, there's still contact, not allowing the receiver free rein as he is well beyond the 5-yard mark.
35-yard penalty as Johnson spun down. Chris Hope loses his hat. And a 5-yard gain. Hope barking a bit.
This is Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Take a listen. Rudy Johnson, Chris Hope. And remember, it was Hope last week who knocked out Lamar Gordon for the season after the wallop he put on him. Also had a forced fumble and 6 tackles. Kenny Watson checks in for Cincinnati. Now a 2nd and 5. Palmer looking to throw. He fires, and he's fortunate it wasn't picked off. Throwing to Chad Johnson, Joey Porter had a chance for the INT.
Oh, very fortunate. But, you know, the Bengals, they got off to that fast start after the forced fumble by Deltha O'Neal. Rudy Johnson getting it going with the running game on the outside, then coming back on the inside, then the play-action fake set up by the run game as Carson Palmer finds Jeremy Johnson for their first touchdown in 30 possessions.
3rd and 5 for the Bengals. From the 35, Matt Schobel in the game for Cincinnati. Out of the gun, flag comes down, play whistle dead.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 76, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now this season for Carson Palmer looked so sharp and comfortable in the first game, and he's looked more like the first-year quarterback that he is the last 2 games.
That'll happen to you when you go against the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens, 2 really good defenses. And so, you know, it's going to all average out. I think this is a kid that's going to continue to progress as the season goes on.
Marvin Lewis told us a lot of drop passes, penalties, sacks, all those little things have been adding up. And Palmer hit as he throws. It's incomplete. Joey Porter applied that heat, as he was looking to make the connection with T.J. Houshmandzadeh.
Well, Porter's working against the left tackle, Levi Jones, watch him coming around the corner. And see him, he beats Levi from the word go, and he's able to get at the feet of Carson Palmer, forcing a bad throw.
And Porter beginning to look like himself again. Last week he looked very good. 7 tackles and a sack against Miami. Kyle Larson on to punt it. Antoine Randall is standing at his own 10. Larson trying to place this one towards the corner. Ooh. Took a bounce, and it benefited Pittsburgh.
Wow, good try.
Well, the wisdom of Solomon, another rendition.
Well, you know, having a great defense can really influence how conservative a quarterback can play. We know Peyton Manning has to put up big numbers. Trent Green, he has to score a lot because this defense can't stop anyone. However, Tom Brady has been the beneficiary of a great defense by the Patriots. Donovan McNabb, his defense has helped him out. And, you know, if you have a good defense, it minimizes the risk that a quarterback has to take by trying to throw the ball into really small places.
Well, there's no doubt last week Byron Lefkowich's defense kept him in the game. Then he made plays in the fourth quarter to help lead Jacksonville to the victory over Tennessee. Deuce Staley gets banged around as he takes it up the middle, a 5-yard gain. Moore and Beckett combined to bring him down.
If you take a look at your last 5 Super Bowl champions, they've all been led by defenses that didn't give up a lot of points. Remember the 2000 Baltimore Ravens? That offense went 15 consecutive quarters without scoring a touchdown. If you were to ask Trent Dilfer, he'd tell you that a good defense is a quarterback's best friend. It really goes a long way in helping the quarterback's cause.
And the misconception, 1999, that St. Louis was only a good offensive team. They had a very good defense that year and very good balance, leading them to a championship. Here's Roethlisberger stepping up. Guns near side, Hines Ward. And then Ward is brought down quickly after the catch. It's an 8-yard gain and a first down for Pittsburgh. Hines Ward continues to play his style of football week in and week out.
He's such a heady player. He can read the defense as well as the quarterbacks can. That's why he's always finding that soft spot in the zone, in between the corner and the outside linebacker. He knows where the guys are going to drop. And you see him how he fits in right between the linebacker Brian Simmons and Delta O'Neal. He's on the ground, makes the catch, and moves the chains.
Hines Ward, the AFC Player of the Month on offense in September. New set of downs for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger under some pressure. Sidearm throw complete to Burris. And a flag down. Plexico Burris takes it to the 48-yard line. Penalty marker on the play. A 16-yard hookup.
Illegal contact. Defense. Number 22. Penalties decline. First down.
It's actually Torrey James. See, they're well beyond the 5-yard area where you can make contact with the receiver. And Burris does an excellent job working inside. And what did Bill Cowher tell us about Ben Roethlisberger that was different than Tommy Maddox? He has the ability to extend the play because of his mobility. Got out of the pocket that time and just bought some extra time for Burris to free himself up from Torrey James.
Cowher said wide receivers have to get accustomed to the new timing in a play because Roethlisberger can prolong it with his feet. Staley, a stiff arm. And Staley again breaking into the second level of Cincinnati. Plexico Burris with a block along that far side, an 8-yard gain.
And you see they have struggled in stopping the run. The only team that's worse is the Arizona Cardinals. Bengals giving up more than 160 yards a game on the ground. I told you about what Curtis Martin did in week 1 and then last week with Jamal Lewis. But certainly, you know, you talk to Marvin Lewis, he thinks it's their inability to make tackles. Said that players have been in position. I think at times they're just getting knocked off the ball, but certainly they have to do a much better job of tackling. D.U. Williams had a chance to get Deuce Staley in the backfield on that last play.
And instead, it's an 8-yard pickup. Now 2nd and 2 for Pittsburgh, moving the ball with ease again. And Staley, a spin move out across the 40-yard line. Dan Kreider with a block, an 8-yard gain for Staley. Cincinnati has no answers on the ground.
Take a look at these guys on the line of scrimmage and watch how everyone gets knocked and caved down on the inside. Look at the big hole there. See, that's just really getting caught out of position. That's not a result of missed tackling as Delta O'Neal secures the final tackle. They're not in a position. They're getting beat physically at the point of attack.
Double tight end set. 1st and 10. Pittsburgh on the move at the Cincinnati 36. Play action. Roethlisberger has the time. High throw, and it's broken up. Plexico Burress left his feet, and Deltha O'Neal was able to sense the opportunity to break that play up.
Well, Deltha O'Neal has come to play, already forced a fumble, but this hit on Plexico Burress is something else.
So Pittsburgh looking to balance things out. Running the football, they can't be stopped so far. Throwing has been a little bit of a different issue, even though Roethlisberger is 4 of 6 for 60 yards. Deuce Staley has 49 yards on the ground, 8 carries, empty backfield. Roethlisberger is going to keep it. And Roethlisberger is brought down after the gain of 3. Simmons and Thornton combined. Well, it's a little tough to get the name Roethlisberger on one jersey. We've got a couple of the biggest names in the NFL here, literally.
Yeah, T.J. Hushmanzada, and how about Chris Ma'afala?
There's a hyphen there. I think he should be disqualified.
It's all his last name. I don't think it qualifies as his middle name. So, and he used to play here with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And that name almost spills over into a different jersey.
Another language.
Veron Haynes has come in, a 4-receiver set on a 3rd and 7, and timeout taken with 42 seconds to go in the first. Timeout called by Cincinnati. We get an NFL Today update to New York. Greg Gumbel.
All right, I am in Buffalo, New England, and the Buffalo Bills. Corey Dillon right up the gut, 15 yards for his first touchdown as a Patriot. New England has given up a field goal. It's 7-3 Patriots as they wind down the first quarter, guys.
And, there was a guy that was wearing Bengals stripes at this time last year. Now he goes over to the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, helping them out, helping to improve their red zone offense, and that's something that, Bill Belichick wanted to improve on. Take a look at the winless teams so far this year. I think of the biggest disappointments, Kansas City really would have to stand out here.
0-3 in the AFC. Agree with you on that. Tampa Bay 0-3, only because the perception was that Tampa Bay still had a good enough defense to go out and win games, even though they don't have many weapons in the passing game right now.
Yeah, but they lost John Lynch, and they lost Warren Sapp, and so many of those players, not only on the defensive side, but some of the core players that helped win the championship 2 years ago.
3rd and 7 after the timeout. Roethlisberger will operate out of the shotgun. Motion man is Randall L. Roethlisberger steps up and throws wide open. Antoine Randall L, a first down. Out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Chased down by Madieu Williams. It's a 20-yard pass play. Back to New York. Another update with Greg.
All right, Ian, this one, the Colts and the Jaguars at Alltel Stadium. Peyton Manning on fire. League-leading 10th touchdown pass. That one to Marvin Harrison. They've gone to the second quarter, and the Colts with that 7-0 lead on the Jaguars, guys.
It's going to be interesting to see who prevails in that one. Does good defense prevail over an excellent offense? Because those are two of the best in terms of offense and defense that you'll ever see in the National Football League.
Down to 10 seconds left in the first. Deuce Staley gets the carry. And Staley, good for 1.5 yards or 2. Dwayne Clemens, along with Justin Smith, to bring down the running back. That's going to do it. End of the first quarter. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they're tied at 7. You're watching the NFL on CBS. More bad news for the Cincinnati Bengals. Rogers Beckett, the starting strong safety, will not return. A blow to the head. He had been suffering with post-concussion symptoms. And Kewan Ratliff, a rookie out of Florida, is now on the field to replace Beckett. So if that's the plan, it's going to be 2 rookies at safety. Madieu Williams and Kewan Ratliff. Potentially the rest of the way. Kevin Casebahorn is out along with Kim Herring. 2nd and 9 for Pittsburgh. First play of the second quarter. Roethlisberger steps up. And Roethlisberger is dropped at the 11-yard line. A gain of 1. Cincinnati able to get him from behind. Tony Williams, John Thornton there along with Clemens.
Well, they actually get the pressure coming from the backside, but, they really keep Roethlisberger in the pocket. You'll see Caleb Miller. See, he comes up, but see, there's the pressure there, forcing them to step up. But then there you see Caleb Miller just securing it. I thought the Bengals did a good job on the back end of that in terms of their coverage, keeping Steelers out of the end zone.
11th play of the drive, and now Pittsburgh is facing a 3rd and 8. Ron Haynes in the backfield. A full receiver set for Roethlisberger. Pressure coming. Gets rid of it to Haynes. Touchdown, Steelers.
Ron Haynes. And they were blitzing that time. There was pressure up the middle on Roethlisberger, who did keep his composure to find Haynes working in the end zone.
First career NFL touchdown for Verron Haynes in his 3rd year out of Georgia. It was Brian Simmons coming through trying to bring down Roethlisberger, and Haynes was wide open. Jeff Reed for the extra point, and give Roethlisberger credit for the quick read. Had to get rid of it in a hurry, and it turns into 6 points, ultimately 7.
Well, every day he's going up against Dick LeBeau's defense. He sees the zone blitz every day. A familiar read result is a touchdown.
Pittsburgh in front early 2nd quarter. Ben Roethlisberger helps lead this Steeler offense on an 11-play, 80-yard drive, and he connects with Verron Haynes for the 11-yard touchdown. Steelers 14, Bengals 7. We're just underway here in the 2nd quarter. On the kickoff, Jeff Reed to T.J. Houshmandzadeh. A touchback.
Now, because Brian Simmons, the linebacker, is going to blitz, watch the defensive end. This is Dwayne Clemens. He's going to be responsible for taking the back out of the backfield for Ron Haynes, but he's no match. Can't stay with the running back seam, trying to peel off there. But then watch it. He makes contact, and after that, Ron Haynes is able to get over the top for the touchdown. But you do have to give credit to Ben Roethlisberger for reading the blitz and then finding the hot read, which went to Verron Haynes.
Yeah, the medical staff was meeting with Roethlisberger after that drive down on the sideline. Doesn't appear to be anything serious. We'll keep you posted. Little trickery now for Cliff Russell. Oh, they love his speed, and Russell is able to break out for a 1st down run. Joey Porter chasing him down. Russell, former member of the Washington Redskins, originally a 3rd-round pick in 2002.
Well, he'll be coming. See, he comes this way, then he'll come back, and they're able to get the defensive end. See him coming flat, then they're able to get out and around him, and from there it's just an easy run until Troy Polamalu is able to get over and contain it. You know, this is only his 3rd career game for Cliff Russell, but he's seeing a lot of action here today for the Bengals.
Empty backfield after the 13-yard run. Handed off. Rudy Johnson. He is met quickly as Johnson saw Larry Foote in front of him. A 3-yard gain for Rudy.
And only a 3-yard gain because the Steelers are very stout defensively, getting every hat into a hole. Larry Foote stepped up to make the tackle. He was the free guy, unblocked, but you could see they're holding their own on the line of scrimmage.
Kendrell Bell continues to miss action with a groin injury. Bell has not played since the first exhibition game. You can sense frustration growing here in Pittsburgh. Quick throw to T.J. Houshmandzadeh, turns it upfield, and Houshmandzadeh right at the 1st down marker. Chad Scott and James Farrior combined to bring him down.
What did Brian Simmons tell us? Every time they play Pittsburgh, you know it's going to be a physical game. And look, you know, usually it's Hines Ward who's looking to get a shot on someone. That time had his bell rung, but see it jawing with Ratliff there. And look, at these guys are teeing off on one another. But this is how Hines Ward loves to play the game. Plays it much differently than any other receiver in the National Football League.
1st down for Cincinnati at the 44-yard line. Handoff. Through a hole, Rudy Johnson. And they've been waiting for Johnson to bust out with a big run. That's a 15-yard gain. His longest on the season is 19. Willie Anderson felt it would happen today.
Yeah, you have to be able to challenge it, and they're going to take it up the middle, but he'll hit and then spin it around. And this is just winning at the point of attack. And now the Bengals offensive line starting to heat it up a little bit. But watch the spin move, forcing Polamalu to miss in the hole. And that's what you have to do. If you're the running back, you have to be able to take care of the one-on-one defender when you get in those situations.
They have not asked Carson Palmer to do much here in the 1st half. He's 3 of 7. They're sticking with the run game, and Rudy Johnson, a 2-yard gain along that left side to Shea Townsend, the cornerback, first man there for Pittsburgh.
And I think the Bengals have to be patient. Continue to feed the ball to Rudy Johnson. This offensive line, they've had some movement. Rich Brom, their starting center, he's out. Jerry Fontenot's in. He didn't join them until the second game of the season. So they're starting to come together because they're getting used to each other, but they have to be able to stick with the running game to help out their young quarterback.
After the 2-yard gain, it's second down for Cincinnati. Double tight end set. Blitz is coming, and Palmer a dead duck. Drop back at midfield. Larry Foote, first man there. Travis Kershke helping out as well from right end.
Not only did he come free, it was the timing of it. You see Foote, he'll get up into the hole just at the point where the ball is snapped. And see, it's the timing of it that doesn't allow the Bengals offensive line to make the adjustments, and it's just real good timing. Getting up in the hole at the point when the ball is snapped, and it happens so fast that the Bengals offensive line could not adjust.
And a loss of 8, 3rd and 16 now for Cincinnati. Kenny Watson in the backfield for the Bengals. Out of the shotgun, rush coming, little flip is incomplete. Farrier applying that pressure as Watson was the intended receiver, and Pittsburgh able to buckle down defensively after Cincinnati was gaining some momentum on offense.
You don't think Dick LeBeau knows he's playing against a first-year quarterback, even though he's in his second season? Really, Carson Palmer only playing in his 4th career game. So Dick LeBeau is designing some complex blitz schemes, turning his guys loose, trying to put pressure on the young quarterback, try to force him to make some mistakes.
Kyle Larson to punt it. Antoine Randall is waiting for it at his own 10. And Larson able to get rid of it. Towards the sideline and walking the tightrope, Randall. But he tiptoed out of bounds at around the 21-yard line. More second quarter action from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only from DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV or visit your local retailer for details. Wendy's Classic Hamburgers, it's better here. And by the personal financial advisors of American Express.
The MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2 is navigating the skies above Heinz Field, providing aerial coverage of today's game. The MetLife Blimp is capable of reaching a maximum speed of 55 miles per hour and altitude of 7,000 feet. Look to the skies for the MetLife Blimps at future events throughout the year. Critical time for Cincinnati on the defensive side of the ball. Pittsburgh has been able to move the ball with ease in this first half. Cincinnati getting their touchdown after the turnover from Deuce Staley. And it's 14-7 Steelers. Ball spotted in the 19. They ruled that Antoine Randall had called for a fair catch. Deuce Staley running into a crowd and about a 2-yard gain for Staley trying to run off tackle. We'll give him a gain of 3, forward progress. Get complete recaps from all of today's NFL games, plus insight from CBS Sportsline's NFL experts, only at CBSSportsline.com. Well, Cincinnati already inexperienced at certain positions, with Madieu Williams playing free safety, Rogers Beckett now out, and Keywan Ratliff, another rookie from Florida, second-round draft pick. Williams, a rookie from Maryland, also a second-round pick. They're lining up the safety positions. On a 2nd and 7. Keep it on the ground. Staley trying to string it out, and that time they sniffed it out. Torrey James and Caleb Miller ranging over to force him to the perimeter.
And it was the speed of Caleb Miller that allowed him to just flow very quickly through the line of scrimmage. He shot the gap, and that's what made the run play bounce, and that's what you want to do. Make it bounce laterally and then just swarm to the ball. So that time they played the run play perfectly.
Nate Webster, who was considered one of the better tacklers on this team on a defense that struggles in that situation, torn right patella tendon, his kneecap in the 4th quarter last week against Baltimore. He is out for the season and placed on injured reserve. Ron Haynes, who had the touchdown earlier, checks in. Roethlisberger trying to stay on his feet, and Roethlisberger throws to a wide-open Burris. Down the sideline, Burris. Plexico Burris forced out of bounds. Incredible. He broke free of Dwayne Clemens.
I want you to watch this, and you have to give Roethlisberger credit. This is what Cowher talked about his ability to extend the play because he's so very mobile. You have to ask, was he down on that play? But watch it. You'll see he's wide open because Tory James falls down and never gets back up. And you see him limping on that play. Tory James lost coverage as he slipped and fell down. And now Bengals are going to take the look to see if Roethlisberger was down on the potential sack.
Cincinnati has challenged the ruling on the field, but the quarterback did not go down by contact.
Pittsburgh was trying to run up to the line of scrimmage to snap that ball quickly. And boy, on that first replay, it did look like Roethlisberger's knee was down. The whistle did not blow.
He was certainly in the grasp, and the Bengals are going to need this call.
A 57-yard pass play in the balance. A potential game-altering decision for Terry McAulay on instant replay. Another look at Roethlisberger trying to break free of Dwayne Clemens.
See the knee down? That's a sack.
After review, the quarterback's right knee was down by contact. The ball will be placed at the 12-yard line. It will be fourth down. Cincinnati is not charged with a team timeout.
All right, so let's go through it. It goes down as a 6-yard sack for Clemens. It negates a long pass play, and it's fourth down for Pittsburgh. They have to punt.
So it's a huge play. It's a game of inches, but you see the knee is down. He's in the grasp. Well, watch on this play as the ball goes to Burris. You see Tory James on the ground. He never gets back up, and I think he may be injured on the play. See him limping, and he's not able even to hustle over to make a tackle. And if you're Marvin Lewis, you have to question as to whether or not you're going to even leave him in the game.
So many secondary problems right now with the injuries to Herring, Case-Vaughan, Beckett. Deltha O'Neal has been able to battle back from injury, and he might be the last man standing.
Shad Bauman is also nicked up.
That's right, he had a blow to the head in the first quarter. Punt from Gardocki, good field position. Pushmanzada has some room to work with from the 50. Trying to bust it to the outside, and he picks up a couple on the return. Faron Haynes on special teams brings him down a 3-yard return, 34-yard punt. 14-7 Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the U.S. Postal Service. With more new ways to use us than ever before, the U.S. Postal Service is working for you. And by Michelob Ultra. Lose the carbs, not the taste.
Back in the Steel City, the Steelers 2-1, the Bengals 1-2. Cincinnati has a bye week coming up. Right now the concern is over players in their secondary, including Tory James, who pulled up lame on that last play that was negated to Plexico Burris. Bengals have it at the 48. Quick throw and complete to Chad Johnson, yet to call his name in this first half. And Johnson with a 24-yard catch on Chad Scott.
As you can see, whenever the Bengals need to make a play, they're going to go to Chad Johnson. And when they want to work on one of the corners, it's Chad Scott, the veteran corner. Doesn't get his head around in time. Excellent throw by Carson Palmer, putting the ball where his guy could get it and really just winging it in there. Very accurate with the pass. But the Bengals have an excellent opportunity on this possession to put points on the board.
First catch of the day for Johnson, and a 1st and 10 at the Pittsburgh 24. Give is to Rudy Johnson. Trying to break free. Johnson's got a blocker and then tripped up across the 20-yard line. It was Palmer who came out, noticing there was some room on that right side and helping out in the running game. This week on NFL.com, Shannon Sharpe breaks down the good, the bad, and the ugly in the NFL, as only he can tell it. It's only at NFL.com or at NFL on AOL.
And Rudy Johnson has to do a better job of keeping his feet. He could have gained at least 7 more yards on that run play, but tripped over his own feet.
It was a 7-yard gain for Rudy. He gets the call again. Johnson unable to sidestep as he took it up the middle. Larry Foote, first man there for Pittsburgh, a 2-yard gain as some words are exchanged between Rudy Johnson and the Steeler defensive players.
And now is money time because you're going to be faced with a 3rd and 1, 3rd and short situation. Obviously, you're going to try to run it here, but this is where the Bengals offensive line have to get some movement up front. This is where power meets power, and you have to win in these situations if you're going to win football games.
third and a long one. Double tight end set. Fake the handoff. Palmer throws and almost picked off by Polamalu. And it would have been daylight the other way for the second-year pro from USC.
And this is a play they've already run. Down on the goal line in short yardage. You're not going to get away with it twice. Polamalu sitting and waiting for the pass over to Jeremy Johnson. I think they should have ran the ball. I don't think you come back with a play that you were successful with earlier in the game. Have to question that call by Bob Bratkowski.
A 34-yard field goal attempt for Shane Graham. Larson will hold it. Trying to cut into the Pittsburgh lead. Graham splits the uprights. And Cincinnati does have something to show for its excellent field position. They put 3 on the board. Second quarter here in Pittsburgh. It's 14-10 Steelers. Tonight on CBS, no matter how many years a murder goes unsolved, one detective won't let justice die. The hit drama Cold Case is back with a season premiere you won't forget. Tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. So Cincinnati elects not to run the ball in a 3rd and 1 situation. They're fortunate that Troy Polamalu did not take it the other way for a touchdown off an interception. He nearly got a gift from his former roommate at USC, Carson Palmer. Graham on the kickoff. Ricardo Coakley on the return. The rookie, Coakley, lost the ball. Coakley fumbled it out near the 30-yard line, and a chase for it as Robert Gathers knocked it free. They will peel off the players in the pile, and the Steelers retain it.
Wow.
Dan Kreider on the recovery.
Well, Coakley mishandles the ball, then he slips. And look at him. He nearly fumbled there, but then after making Miles miss on the tackle, he nearly broke this one for a touchdown, able to step out of the grasp of Madieu Williams, and then you see him fumble the ball. And the Bengals had a shot at it. Steelers have another shot. This was a feast or famine play for both teams because they both had opportunities to make a big play.
And a 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line for Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Tooman, the motion man. 6:38 to go. We are in the second quarter. Roethlisberger, pressure coming, and finds the open man, Hines Ward, over the middle. 9-yard gain. A flag comes down at the end of the play. Might have been a face mask. Terry McCauley will sort it out. You know, Hines Ward's reputation as being a physical player has certainly grown over the years. There's no doubt defensive players go in with the mindset, I'm going to hit him before he hits me.
It's a game of one-upsmanship because if he catches you not looking and you're a defensive back, he's going to lay it on you. And then I think in turn,
There's no
want to hit
foul
him
for
back.
a late hit. The hit occurred prior to the ball being down. Second down.
So the officials are going to let him mix it up. Look at Hines Ward. Look at the numbers. You're talking about the percentage of teams receiving yards. And we know about Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, Randy Moss. Look at this. More than 3 times the amount what any of those guys are doing for their team. Hines Ward, very productive in September. You see what he's done for his football team.
And now 92 straight games with at least 1 reception as Deuce Staley carries to the 40-yard line, and a first down for Pittsburgh. He picks up 2. Kevin Hardy making the play defensively as he got him down low. Under 6 minutes to go in this first half. Steelers have a 1st and 10 and a 14-10 lead. Caleb Miller is slow to get up as he is hunched over at the 40-yard line. So as if the injury troubles haven't been enough for Cincinnati already, they are thin at middle linebacker. Miller, the backup to Nate Webster, who is done for the year.
And to have quality depth in the National Football League is so difficult with the salary cap. They have to play Miller, who is a rookie out of Arkansas. But, you know, Kevin Hardy and both Brian Simmons, they're the 2 starting outside linebackers. Both have played middle linebacker for this Bengals football team. But, you know, Marvin Lewis said it. We don't want to have to move 2 guys to fill 1 position. You see, he has to be very disappointed in his players' inability to stay healthy and stay on the football field.
As they take a look at the rookie Caleb Miller, we'll tell you about the NFL.com Fan poll question. Your team needs to go 80 yards in 2 minutes for the win. Which quarterback do you want leading your squad? You can cast your vote at NFL.com. Solomon will vote right now.
That's my guy. I like all the guys on that list, but
I never saw the check. We never saw the check there, big fella.
well, it was Tom Brady.
Tom Brady?
You have to go with Tom Brady because he's a guy that really has shown that he doesn't make mistakes at crucial moments in the ball game.
I'll take Peyton Manning. 2 minutes.
Not a bad choice.
2 minutes.
Not a bad choice. He could score in like 30 seconds. He doesn't need the whole 2 minutes.
You can cast your vote at NFL.com. Pittsburgh 14, Cincinnati 10. 5:50 to go in the first half. And now Landon Johnson, another rookie, a third-round pick from Purdue, will come in at linebacker. You talked about the experience that Simmons and Hardy have in the middle. That's not where they've been playing, though, this season. On first down for Roethlisberger. From the 40. Fake the handoff. Has the time. Long ball throw. Looking for Burris. Incomplete. And Roethlisberger knows he had a shot at 6 with Plexico Burris breaking out.
Now, we've already said that whenever they want to go deep, and this is where they're going to go, and that's to Burris down at the bottom of your screen. He's the guy that they want to get it deep to. All the other guys are possession guys, and he runs right through the Bengals secondary, past the corner, past the safety, Ratliff. You know, Roethlisberger said, I had one, and let it get away.
So a 2nd and 10. Roethlisberger 7 of 10, 100 yards and a touchdown. Kreider will shift into the backfield. Roethlisberger wants to throw it. Steps up and too high for Kreider. It'll be 3rd and 10 for Pittsburgh. Well, CBS Sports has added a new element to its broadcast, and you can check it out at the bottom of the screen. It's called Game Tracks. Game Tracks will keep you updated on all the latest scores and the leaders around the league, and it will be continuously updated throughout our game, so you can keep an eye on what's happening around the NFL. It's a new element. It's Game Tracks right at the bottom of your screen here on CBS.
And the Bengals are getting, the Steelers are getting away from their running game, having thrown passes on those last 2 plays.
3rd and 10 from the 40. Roethlisberger has the time, throws it underneath to Haynes. Able to make one man miss, but not enough to gain first down yardage. He picks up 5. Madieu Williams, the safety, able to force him down at the 45. So the Steelers will punt. And although Pittsburgh has controlled action, at least that's from the vantage point here, Cincinnati's going to get the ball back trailing only 14-10.
Give credit to the Bengals defense because they forced the Steelers to go 3 and out on their last 2 possessions and forcing the punt here. But I think the Steelers getting away from their running game on first down particularly, I think has helped the Bengals get back into this game.
Chris Gardocki, it is punt number 1,000 for him in his NFL career without a block. An NFL record for Gardocki. And TJ Houshmandzadeh, little room to work. Sean Morey brings him down after the short gain of 5. Coming up, Nextel halftime report. Greg, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Nextel halftime report. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-1, a team that was number 31 on the ground last year. That has been an improvement, at least in the short term here in 2004. Looked like they could do whatever they wanted on the ground, but they've gotten away from it, Solomon, as you mentioned during that last series. And Cincinnati gets the ball back at their own 17. Palmer, short toss, and Jeremy Johnson dropped very quickly by Joey Porter. No gain on the play.
You think the Steelers aren't locked in on Jeremy Johnson trying to sneak out of the backfield? He's the check down throw for Carson Palmer. He doesn't see anything up the field and, just get it out to the fullback. But right now, the Steelers are creeping closer and closer to the line of scrimmage, trying to take that option away from Palmer. So they may have to try to stretch him and try to get deep. They've been working on Chad Scott. He's the older corner, so they may have to take him deep.
Chris Perry has checked in. They found him earlier on a pass play. Palmer this time throws incomplete. Tony Stewart, the tight end, with Joey Porter in there defensively.
So the Steelers come up, and they're dogging the line of scrimmage, trying to give Carson Palmer a blitz look. And what that does is it makes the quarterback get rid of the ball more quickly. After a three-step drop, he expects it's going to be a blitz, doesn't want to hold on to it. So they're forcing the hand of the young quarterback, giving him blitz looks and then dropping into coverage.
Dime package now for Pittsburgh with Coakley and Stuvance out on the field. On a 3rd and 10, deep drop. Palmer guns, complete to the 25, breaking a tackle. Houshmandzadeh. A first down across the 30-yard line. It quiets the crowd. Townsend could not bring him down initially.
Oh, the young quarterback, Carson Palmer, answers on that one because they show a blitz look, but they only bring 4 guys. He read it perfectly, got the ball out of his hands, got it over to the slot man, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, who made a nice move after the grab. Now watch this. You see their 4-man rush, but watch the slot. You see the ball's out of the hands of the quarterback on top of Houshmandzadeh very quickly, where he makes a move after he catches the ball.
Now the line of scrimmage is now the 31. Handoff. Rudi Johnson. And thrown down by Polamalu. Flag comes down, a couple of them. Along that left side, Levi Jones and Eric Steinbach with some good push for Rudi.
Polamalu very aggressive, grabbing the face mask that time of Rudi Johnson.
Personal foul. Grasping face mask. Defense. Number 43. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Now Polamalu plays with a lot of fire. Last week had the first interception of his career. But this is just a mistake.
Well, you know, it's inadvertent, but you got to let go. At some point, once you feel you have hold of that face mask, you have to let go. He is an aggressive football player. He was an All-American coming out of USC, and you know, that's how he made a name for himself.
Trailing 14-10, under 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Cincinnati driving in Pittsburgh territory. Palmer, pump fake, and throws it out of bounds. Didn't have anything working, and Carson Palmer recognizing he didn't want to force it.
Smart play by Carson Palmer. You can see after 3 games last year where Jon Kitna was in the offense. Quarterback rating a little bit better, but had thrown 5 interceptions. You see everything else is just about even. Carson Palmer has 1 more win at this point, so might say it's dead even. And Kitna is a guy that has been in this offense for quite some time under Bob Bratkowski, so I think it's remarkable what Carson Palmer has done in the short time he's been in this system.
On the handoff, Rudi Johnson stumbling forward. He dealt with that initial hit and remained on his feet. Johnson gained 7. It'll be 3rd and 3 upcoming. More on the Kitna-Palmer dynamic. Kitna, a very popular guy this week in Cincinnati, with fans calling for a potential change at quarterback.
Yeah, and Carson Palmer said, hey, I don't listen to the radio stations, the talk radio shows. He said, but I expected the criticism because John did such a good job with this football team 1 year ago, but they remain close in terms of their relationship, and Kitna fully supports Carson Palmer. 3rd
and 3 now for Cincinnati. Under 2 minutes to go. Palmer gets rid of it and complete. A flag down as Kelly Washington hauls it in. A first down grab across the 30. Joey Porter had the hit on Kitna. I should say on Palmer, a 9-yard gain.
Offense. Yep. Lined up in the backfield, number 84. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down. That is the 2-minute warning.
Well, those are the mistakes that Marvin Lewis talked to us about yesterday. And a costly one. Instead of a first down, they face a 3rd and long when we come back. Coming up, Nextel halftime report. Greg, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer will have the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's coming up on the Nextel halftime report. It'll be 3rd and 8 now for Cincinnati. Carson Palmer continues to show patience and presence for a young quarterback, only his 4th game as the starter. On 3rd and 8, shotgun. Palmer throws too high. Over the head of Houshmandzadeh. Again, Joey Porter got some heat on the young QB, and Cincinnati faces a 4th down.
Joey Porter has come alive, providing pressure for Dick LeBeau and this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. He came off that right corner, and just enough to cause a bad throw by Carson Palmer, but Palmer's doing what Marvin Lewis wants him to do. Asked him not to try to do too much through 3 interceptions last week. Felt that Palmer was really trying to make a play happen, and there was none.
Antoine Randall awaiting the Larson punt. And Randall will catch it. A fair catch inside the 10. Steelers felt there was contact as Randall was moving over to get it.
Well, there was a crowd around him.
Kevin Walter was in the area, and Randall still complaining over the no call. The Survivor men and the Survivor women are falling apart. And a mysterious stranger arrives and affects them in ways they can't imagine. Don't miss America's most watched reality show, that's Survivor, Thursday at 8, 7 Central on CBS. So the line of scrimmage will be the 8-yard line. And a 1st and 10 with 1:43 to go in this first half. Pittsburgh still has 3 timeouts remaining. Staley in the backfield with Kreider. And off to Staley. Trying to cut it upfield, and Staley is bottled up after the gain of 2. Deuce Staley, 53 yards rushing. Simmons and Hardy combining to bring him down.
Steelers going back to the running game after not really getting back on track running the football in their 2 previous possessions.
And a good sign for Cincinnati. Caleb Miller has returned to the field at middle linebacker. A timeout. Cincinnati trying to preserve some of the clock. 1:31 remaining second quarter. Bengals have 1 timeout remaining after calling that one. On the handoff, Staley able to break through for a first down. A 9-yard gain. Dan Kreider with a block. And the clock is rolling with 1:15 left, second quarter.
But Deuce did fumble early in this game, and you can see he's calling for more. He wants to get on track and he wants to get going. He's going to come off the field right now. It'll be interesting to see what the Steelers have in mind.
Right now they've got a 4-receiver set in mind with Deron Haynes in there as well. Roethlisberger stands tall in the pocket and able to zing it over to Randall L. Modest gainer of 4 on first down. Clock continues to roll. 45 seconds left. First half. 2nd and 6 now for Pittsburgh. Line of scrimmage, the 24. Here's Haynes. And spun down at the 25. Tony Williams, a gain of 1. And they stop the clock with 31 seconds left in this second quarter. Pittsburgh still has 2 timeouts remaining. And we'll come back to Heinz Field after this. 31 seconds remaining on the clock. Pittsburgh 14, Cincinnati 10. Waning moments of this second quarter. Here in Pittsburgh, Steelers used a timeout, and they face a 3rd and 5 from the 25.
3rd and 5.
Roethlisberger will operate out of the shotgun. On 3rd down, Haynes in the backfield with him. Heinz Ward, the motion man. Roethlisberger, poke fake. Roethlisberger puts some touch on it, and a flag thrown. Randall L. was held in his attempt to lunge for the football.
Did they say they were going to emphasize the 5-yard bump rule? Well, they're watching it today because there's been a couple of calls regarding that rule already here in the first half.
And Roethlisberger took a shot after he released it from Clemens and Williams of Cincinnati. Terry McCauley.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 37. Automatic. First down.
And that's Reggie Miles, 3rd-year pro, was signed as a free agent back in 2002.
Well, you can see it working against that Randall L., who's outside of the screen. But there certainly was contact beyond that 5-yard area where you are allowed to bump the receiver.
So the line of scrimmage is now the 35. It's a 10-yard penalty, and Roethlisberger will again work out of the shotgun. Has the time, and guns towards the sideline. Plexico Burris. Stiff arm on Torrey James, who has remained in there for Cincinnati in the secondary. That's a 12-yard gain through the air and another first down for the Steelers.
And now Roethlisberger getting very comfortable in the pocket. Only a 3-man rush where he has plenty of time and plenty of windows to throw the ball into Plexico Burress. There's no pressure in the face of the young quarterback, and as you allow a young quarterback to become comfortable in the pocket, he can really pick you apart.
I was impressed with him in our sit-down with Ben Roethlisberger. He came out and said, I've got to lead with my actions. I have to slowly win these veterans over. I can't just be rah-rah and expect them to believe in me. He's winning them over here today. Across the middle, Verron Haynes. And Haynes is tackled down with 12 seconds left in this first half. A timeout taken. Terrell Roberts losing his helmet and making the stop. That's 11 yards through the air. And Pittsburgh able to move the ball down the field, but still out of field goal range. Ball spotted at the 42. Well, coming up Monday on CSI Miami. A new investigator joins the team and gets thrown into the most controversial case they've ever had. Don't miss a new episode of Monday's #1 show. That's CSI Miami, Monday at 10, 9 Central on CBS, America's most watched network.
See the young rookie quarterback Roethlisberger has plays on that sleeve, kind of a cheat sheet, if you will. Needing all the help he could get. Bill Cowher said that, hey, he has a good offensive line in front of him. We have a good core of wide receivers, good blocking tight ends, and 3 running backs they can hammer away at you. And Verron Haynes, Jerome Bettis, and Deuce Staley. So it feels like he has, a nice complement of weapons around Ben Roethlisberger. Easy to make him comfortable.
And the Steelers have 1 timeout remaining. Have to be careful here. 10 seconds left in the half. Roethlisberger throwing the long ball. Burress out there, cannot haul it in. Torrey James along with Keywan Ratliff. And Burress came oh so close to a big catch on the ball.
Oh, this ball's well thrown by Roethlisberger, but watch Plexico Burress working against Torrey James. James does a good job of playing this ball in the air. Look at the hand fighting there. But you see Burress is a big guy. He's going to go up high for the ball, but James understands that. He plays the ball up high. You see the pressure. Brian Simmons coming, laying the lick on Roethlisberger, who is able to get that ball away. But that's what you have to do. Put some hits on the quarterback. Don't allow him to become comfortable standing in the pocket.
Now a Hail Mary situation with only seconds remaining. Roethlisberger, pump fake. Roethlisberger throwing it deep. Knocked around and incomplete. A flag throw. Penalty marker on the play at the 4-yard line.
This is going to go against the Steelers, and they're going to call it offensive pass interference.
Pass interference, offense, number 80. That is the end of the first half.
Look at Burress once again working against Torrey James. Now, he's going to push James in the back when the ball is coming in. See the little push, little movement there? That ball gets tipped around, and Hines Ward was hoping to come down with it, but good call by the officials.
End of the first half. Pittsburgh leading Cincinnati 14-10. Halftime here in Pittsburgh. The Steelers 14, the Bengals 10, as we welcome you back to Heinz Field. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. AFC North battle. These two teams know each other quite well. A lot of connections. Obviously, the Dick LeBeau connection, former head coach of the Bengals. Bill Cowher, Marvin Lewis go way back. First half thoughts, we always come in with what we think is going to happen, and we figured Pittsburgh would be able to run the football. They got away from that a little bit.
Yeah, they were able to run the ball when they attempted to. I think they got away from it and allowed Ben Roethlisberger to throw the ball. Started making some plays going to Plexico Burress down the field, missed on some, but they are starting to move the ball, I think, not just on the ground, but Roethlisberger has grown very comfortable in this game, throwing the ball until he's looked really good. I think they've gotten some pressure on Carson Palmer, and the Bengals, they can, I think, capitalize better on opportunities down into the red zone where they tried to throw the ball into the flat, nearly had it intercepted and was forced to go for a field goal, and that's really the difference in this game.
Fantasy notebook as we check out some of the numbers from the first half. And offensively, Ben Roethlisberger, he just looked poised. He looked like he belonged. Palmer had some moments, but all in all, nothing gaudy by any stretch. Bengals were able to finally break that long string of possessions without a touchdown. Running game, both were effective.
Yeah, both running backs, I think, are doing a good job in this game. And really, the defenses are putting pressure on the quarterbacks. And that's why you see Carson Palmer not doing as well, not able to get the ball to Chad Johnson, his go-to guy. And you see Burris, the vertical stretch. He's the guy that's going to get deep. Roethlisberger has found him 3 times. And then, Hines Ward has caught 3 balls in this game. And so that's really the difference. Both guys are playing really well, playing within themselves. And I'm talking about the young quarterbacks not turning the ball over. And I'm sure both coaches want to keep it that way.
Halftime numbers overall, Cincinnati taking advantage of the 1 turnover from Pittsburgh. Deuce Staley coughing it up. And they go for 127 total yards. Steelers over 200 yards of offense, but in terms of point production, not what you would expect with that kind of yardage on the field. We'll come back, second half action from Heinz Field after this. Bird's eye view of the city of Pittsburgh. Steelers 2-1. Bengals 1-2 as we are set for second half action. Steelers have won 6 of their last 8 against Cincinnati. Trying to forget about a 6-10 record in 2003. And keep in mind, Pittsburgh was 2-1 to start the year last season, only to fall apart against the likes of Tennessee and Cleveland, and that began a downward spiral that the Steelers never recovered from. Jeff Reed to kick it off. TJ Houshmandzadeh, Kenny Watson are deep for Cincinnati. And this is Houshmandzadeh from the 5. Houshmandzadeh looking for a lane, and then he is stood up at the 28-yard line. Falls forward for an extra yard on special teams. Well, great pictures here today in Pittsburgh. The MetLife Blimp. Snoopy 2 providing today's aerial coverage of the game below. The Blimp travels over 60,000 miles a year to cover sporting events and television specials throughout the United States. Look for the MetLife Blimp, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 as they team up with CBS through the year.
And Ian, here in the second half, look for the Bengals to go back to the ground game with Rudy Johnson, and then look for them to also try to get Chad Johnson going with a big play.
Chad Johnson only had that 1 catch for 24 yards in the first half. Rudy Johnson gets the carry. And a little juke move up the middle turns into a 5-yard gain for Rudy. Casey Hampton involved in the stop for Pittsburgh. First play from scrimmage for Cincinnati on the ground.
And everyone has been expecting the big game from Rudy Johnson. I think he's really good at picking his spots and getting those 3- and 4-yard gains. And, Willie Anderson told us now we just need one of those explosion runs, and that's what they're waiting for.
Johnson, a willing runner in between the tackles because of his big frame, 220 yards. And it's Johnson sticking his helmet down, but this time nowhere to go. Just about everybody involved for Pittsburgh defensively as they swarm towards the ball. A gain of 1 for Johnson.
The Steelers are very aggressive at trying to cave in your offensive line and creating a new line of scrimmage in your backfield. And I think the Bengals are going to have to take advantage of that. Maybe hit them with some play action because the linebackers like Joey Porter and Larry Foote, they're getting so close up to the line of scrimmage. I think that you could play action fake and maybe hit some passes behind them.
Empty backfield. Dick LeBeau's defense facing a 3rd and 4 with Houshmandzadeh, the motion man for Cincinnati. Here's Palmer. Rush coming. Gets rid of it. Open along the sideline. Kenny Watson and a first down for the Bengals. The catch and run by Watson as Hagans applied that pressure on Carson Palmer.
It is Clark Hagans coming off the right side, and he gets on top of Palmer right away. Palmer kept his composure because he delivered the ball accurately, still allowed the Bengals to pick up the first down.
How much does Pittsburgh miss Kendrell Bell?
I think they miss him a lot. He's a guy that comes in, he makes plays, not just coming off the corner, but against the run. I think Larry Foote has done a good job. They have so many good players, but he's a guy that certainly will help solidify what they want to do defensively.
On the toss for Rudy Johnson. Takes it through the opening and into Pittsburgh territory. Angles out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Eric Steinbach, the big left guard, with a good block along that offensive line.
Working on the left side behind Levi Jones. You see Levi getting outside, kicking out to Shea Townsend, and that's where Rudy gets to the second level before he's knocked out of bounds. before he can pick up the first down. But like we said, on this drive, Bengals going back to the ground game using Rudy. Now watch for some play action fake as they try to get the ball deep.
8-yard gain for Johnson. 2nd and 2 for Cincinnati. Bengals on the move at the 46-yard line of Pittsburgh. Steelers crowd the line. Handoff. And Rudy Johnson is spun down quickly. Larry Foote, first man there for Pittsburgh. It's a loss of 1.
Now, I don't know how much of an opportunity Carson Palmer has to check out of the play that's sent in by the coaches. But on that play, clearly the Steelers were crowding the line of scrimmage, showing that they were going to blitz regardless of run or pass. I thought if he was able to check out and run a play action fake, they could get the one-on-one coverage on the outside and possibly make a play.
3rd and 3 for the Bengals. Kelly Washington is the 3rd receiver along with Houshmandzadeh and Johnson. Palmer flags down, throwing to a spot and complete. Houshmandzadeh is tackled along the shoelaces by Townsend. It's a first down for Cincinnati if it stands. Penalty marker.
Offside. Defense. Number 55. Penalties decline. First down.
That's Joey Porter trying to sneak in. It's a 9-yard pass play and a new set of downs for the Bengals.
Yeah, it's all in the attempt to get pressure on Carson Palmer, because right now the Bengals are doing an excellent job of picking up those blitzes, giving Palmer the extra time. And even when the blitzer does get through, as we saw on the hit by Clark Haggans, Palmer's still reading it well enough to get rid of the ball.
From the 38-yard line, Cincinnati with a 1st and 10. Fake the handoff. Palmer steps up, fires, low throw. Pittsburgh claims incomplete. Chad Johnson able to bring it in. Flags are thrown. Chad Scott in coverage against Johnson. A complete pass.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 30, penalties decline, first down.
How about Chad Johnson willing to do the dirty work, working underneath in the coverage against Chad Scott? You see the hands there? You're not allowed to grab the receiver once you get past 5 yards. You can touch them, but you can't inhibit their ability to come back to the ball. And how about talking about doing the dirty work? Chad Johnson digging that one out of the turf.
And an 11-yard gain, first down Cincinnati. Rudy Johnson slashing along that right side for a 5-yard gain. Casey Hampton able to ride him down as we hit the 11-minute mark of this 3rd quarter, and the Bengals sustaining a good drive to open the second half.
Yeah, you might want to say in the second half, the Bengals are beating the Steelers at their own game. Of the 8 plays so far that they've run here in the second half, 5 are run plays, 3 are pass, so they have balance, but yet showing that they're not going to get away from giving the ball to Rudy Johnson running the football.
18 carries, 81 yards for Rudy in a double tight end set on a 2nd and 5. Steelers creep up on the line of scrimmage, and the quick throw asking Johnson to create cannot get the first down. 3-yard gain to Shea Townsend over to help bring him down and out of bounds.
And with Peter Warrick out of this game, he has an injury to his shin. They're missing a playmaker, and so that's why you're finding Rudy is the guy to get it done running and trying to get the ball out on the perimeter to Chad Johnson, who runs off the field right now, and that's why you see Cliff Russell playing a huge part in what the Bengals are doing also on offense.
On 3rd down, a 3rd and 2 for Cincinnati, trying to keep this drive alive. Palmer straight back. Palmer fires into traffic, complete to Reggie Kelly. A first down for the Bengals, covers 4 yards with the linebackers in coverage, Foote and Farrior.
Yeah, Kelly will just find the soft spot. See, he'll come and he'll sit right in between the linebackers and give Carson Palmer. Watch the head of Palmer. He's looking all the way and just stick throw right there. He looked at his receiver. He knew where he had to go with the ball to pick up the first down, and was able to get that ball in there very quickly to his tight end, Reggie Kelly.
On this drive, Palmer 5 of 5, 38 yards, and a 1st and 10 from the Pittsburgh 15. Palmer, play action. Palmer, flushed out, hit as he throws, and almost intercepted. Travis Kershke. He had it in his breadbasket.
The hit is going to come from Aaron Williams. See, Aaron's going to come here, come off the backside. Palmer doesn't see him. Tries to get rid of the ball, but a fraction of a second too late. See the hit coming from the backside. It's actually Joey Porter who comes in and gets the hit. but it's just as he's releasing the ball, just as he's throwing it, you have to ask if the arm is even coming forward.
Whistle was blown, so it was irrelevant, but I think that's a legitimate question to ask. Irrelevant now, 2nd and 10. Quick throw, and that one's almost picked off by Porter.
Wow.
Throwing to the flat, and Kenny Watson.
Watch Porter. See, he's heads up as he gets blocked. He just falls right into the throwing lane. Understand the ball may go over to the back. Kenny Watson gets into that throwing lane and nearly made a play. So Palmer has dodged a bullet on the last 2 plays after being perfect on this drive.
And was that a backward pass? They were in that area where they were toying with the line of scrimmage. And that's why the Steelers were hoping to steal one and take it the other way. 3rd and 10 after 2 near miscues. Palmer steps up, fires in stride. Houshmandzadeh inside the 5 and a first down for Cincinnati. Chris Hope with the stop along with Polamalu.
Well, with guys like Peter Warrick out, have to be able to get it. And watch this, and that's where they're going to work, right on the linebacker, Ferrier. Ferrier can't stay with Houshmandzadeh. See the option route? Faked him out and able to get over into the middle. So you get the matchup you want if you're the Bengals. You're wide receiver on their linebacker.
14th play of the drive. Cincinnati looking to take the lead. 1st and goal from the 2. Handed off. Rudy Johnson spinning his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
What an impressive play by the Bengals. An impressive drive overall because they're going to get right up into the line, and this is where they're going to get the push. Right over that left side, over the center. And Rudy Johnson, excellent second effort, spinning, doing everything he can to get into the end zone. Willie Anderson said, we have to start getting the tough, dirty yards, and they were able to do it on that play.
His 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. 1st since the opening drive in the season opener against the Jets. Flags come down, the point after for Shane Graham. And Cincinnati has taken the lead. They are an extra point away from a 17-14 advantage.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 98. 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
It's just the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the touchdown, actually, by Rudy Johnson. You see him powering in for the touchdown.
And Shane Graham for the extra point. Cincinnati 17. Pittsburgh 14. Bengals with a strong possession to open up the second half here in Pittsburgh. Beautiful day here in Pittsburgh. Steelers led throughout most of that first half and now find themselves trying to play catch-up here at Heinz Field. Shane Graham will kick it off. After the 14th play, 71-yard drive from Cincinnati. Antoine Randall from the goal line. No, it's Ricardo Coakley. And Coakley able to carry out across the 25-yard line. Madieu Williams makes the play on special teams. Ben Roethlisberger will get another crack at this Cincinnati defense in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Viagra. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you. Circuit City. For the hottest new technology, think Circuit City. Just what I needed. And by the coldest tasting beer in the world. Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 39.
Cincinnati Bengals have only been 2-2 once since 1996. They have a chance to improve to 2-2 with a victory here today over Pittsburgh. They lead at 17-14, 8:29 to go in the third. Steelers have the ball with a 1st and 10 at the 28. Handoff. Deuce Staley. And falls forward out across the 30-yard line. He picks up 3.5.
Well, you know the Steelers are going to run the ball. And take a look 77 rushing yards on the day for Pittsburgh, 24 yards after contact. Marvin Lewis talks about wanting better tackling. That's not bad. 24 yards after running the ball as many times as they run it so far, 20 times in the ball game. So you have to be able to minimize those yards after you make contact and make the tackle right away.
2nd and 6 for the Steelers, under 8 minutes to go in the third. Roethlisberger on the throw to Hines Ward, and he ducks out of bounds. A first down at the 42-yard line. It covers 10 yards through the air. Monday, an all-new Late Show. Dave welcomes former presidential candidate Howard Dean, and later this week, don't miss Jamie Foxx and the father and son team from American Chopper. Dave's all new, all this week. Ben Roethlisberger, 12 of 18, 142 yards. The touchdown pass to Verron Haynes in the first half. And no major mistakes. Handoff, Staley sidestepping, breaks a tackle, and fumbles the football. Cincinnati is all over it. Second fumble of the day for Deuce. And the Bengals recover at the 49-yard line. Madieu Williams on the recovery.
Oh, Deuce is working very hard. He's still trying to make up from that fumble earlier in the game. You see him breaking tackles. He's a strong runner, but you have to protect the football. Dwayne Clemens, number 92. See the hand come in right there. That's what jars the ball loose as the Bengals come up with yet another turnover.
Cincinnati takes over after the fumble. Deuce Staley has been effective on the ground today for Pittsburgh, but that category on the right side, that's 2 fumbles for Deuce. Cincinnati takes over at the 49. Palmer looking for the home run ball into double coverage. Too high for Chad Johnson. Incomplete. Townsend and Hope back deep for Pittsburgh in coverage. Now, coming up tonight on CBS, the hit drama Cold Case is back with a season premiere you will not forget. Don't miss it tonight at 8, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network.
And we told you they would run the ball with Rudy Johnson, take some shots down the field with Chad Johnson. Now they'll go back to the run, and Bengals starting to dominate with time of possession here in the second half.
2nd and 10 for Cincinnati. On the ground, Rudy Johnson through a hole and stumbling forward across the 40, a first down. Jerry Fontenot creating extra space, the center. It's a 12-yard gain.
Well, this is clearly a case of the Bengals. See, they'll just start here. They get the line moving that way. Rudy's here, but then he'll cut it back and put a move on the safety. So they really are starting to beat the Steelers at their own game. See, they get the line moving, then he's slashing, cutting it back, and almost able to make Chris Hope, the free safety, miss as he comes up to try to make the tackle.
He had 98 yards on the ground last week. He is at 95 yards on the ground this week. Johnson again, and plowing through the Pittsburgh defense for a gain of 5. Out to the 34-yard line. We head to New York. NFL Today update. Greg Gumbel.
All right, Ian, Colts and Jaguars at Alltel Stadium, and Peyton Manning, his 2nd touchdown pass of the day, 11th of the season, 16 yards to Marcus Pollard, and the Colts now lead Jacksonville 17-6 with time winding down in the third.
Well, the Jacksonville defense is good, that we know, but they are getting tested by an offense that plays at a different level. 2nd and 5. Johnson goes over 100 yards on the day as Kimo von Oelhoffen cuts him down low. It's a 2-yard gain, and Johnson now 102 yards rushing this afternoon.
Oh, for the Bengals here in the second half, it really is about how they're able to make some plays. But here, this ball gets away from Carson Palmer, incompletion. They're getting into the throwing lanes by Carson Palmer. Joey Porter nearly made a play, but this second half has belonged to Rudy Johnson in the Bengals running game.
3rd and 3. Kenny Watson in the backfield. Watson gets the carry and cannot plow through. Loose football. Watson fumbled it, and Pittsburgh recovers.
It's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers needed. A big play from the defense. Careless with the football by the Cincinnati Bengals and their running back, Kenny Watson. You have a chance to put this game away. You had the crowd out of the game. And now Deuce Staley comes back looking to redeem himself.
On his first carry of the day, he puts it on the turf. James Farrior, a big play.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the next Ford Super Duty. Tougher, stronger, smarter. And by Under Armour Performance Apparel. We must protect this house.
Last week, James Farrior had 2 fumble recoveries. This week, 2 for the price of 1. He forced the fumble on Watson and recovered it. So the Steelers get it back with a 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. 5:13 to play in the 3rd quarter. Staley and Kreider in the backfield. Roethlisberger on the handoff. They'll go right back to Staley. And not much there for New Staley. No gain on the play, maybe 1, depending upon where they spot it. Langston Moore made the stop for Cincinnati. This week, see why NCIS is Tuesday's most watched show. Mark Harmon stars in NCIS. That's Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. And Kevin Hardy looked like he had the wind knocked out of him earlier. Hardy is back on the field for Cincinnati. And a 2nd and 10 now for Pittsburgh. 3 receiver formation. Handoff. Staley emerging through that hole, but Hardy able to get a hold of him from behind. It's a 6-yard run for Deuce.
So the Bengals go, or I should say the Steelers go back to Deuce Staley as you watch Jerome Bettis from the sideline. You know, they talk about getting back to that Steeler tradition of running the football. Bill Cowher says it's something that we have to get back to. Doesn't think that his football team could be a tough football team if they really rely on the passing game. But if you're going to run the ball, your runners have to be able to hold on to the ball.
Now a 3rd and 4. Hines Ward, the motion man. He has 4 catches, 33 yards today. Blocking is there. And Roethlisberger trying to lay one out on a crossing pattern to Ward, to no avail. Incomplete. Reggie Miles with the coverage. And the Steelers do very little on offense.
Give credit to the Bengals on defense. Reggie Miles do a good job. See, they stack the receivers up and trying to get a rub off, but Miles comes through it cleanly on the top shoulder of Hines Ward. It plays it perfectly, times up the defense. But it give credit to the pressure in the face of the quarterback and then coverage on the back end.
Chris Gardocki with T.J. Houshmandzadeh waiting. This is returnable from the 21. Houshmandzadeh cuts it upfield and then brought down around the 24-yard line. James Harrison leading that charge for Pittsburgh, a 41-yard punt. But Cincinnati with a 17-14 lead, they get the ball back, looking to move it down the field here in the 3rd. Steelers defensively forced only 25 turnovers all of last season. That was a franchise low. They forced one on the last possession for Cincinnati as Kenny Watson coughed it up. Now Palmer looking to the air, and he's got Chad Johnson able to leap and make that grab in the battle of the Chads. It's Johnson over Scott for 16 yards.
Well, does Carson Palmer have a weapon in Chad Johnson going over Chad Scott? See, Scott never gets his head around to find the football, but that's because Johnson does a good job of playing possum, not really going up for the ball till the last minute, knowing that Scott was going to start raking away at his hand. So, you know, Johnson has been a model of consistency in this offense for his quarterback.
From the 41, bootleg, Palmer on the fake handoff, and the throw to Tony Stewart. Out of bounds, short gainer, if anything. Looks like no gain on the play on 1st down.
Yeah, Palmer could have gotten the ball to him a little sooner on that play.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, how does Bill Parcells turn losers into winners? There's only one way to find out. Watch 60 Minutes tonight here on CBS. 2nd and 10 now for Cincinnati. Under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. Chris Perry will set up as a receiver. Spread formation for the Bengals. Palmer looking for his man. He's got Perry again. 2nd time today he has made the connection with the rookie from Michigan. This one covers 13 yards into Pittsburgh territory.
Yeah, Bob Bratkowski loves Chris Perry's ability to come out of the backfield. See, he was lined up in the slot position that time, and looks quite natural catching the ball. His struggles to get on the football field has really been in his pass protection, but he can run it and he can catch it. Now he has to learn to block.
Had an 11-day holdout during training camp, which slowed his progress a bit, but getting caught up to speed here today as Rudy Johnson keeps the legs churning and carries to the 40-yard line. That's a gain of 6. Deshae Townsend in on the stop for Pittsburgh.
Johnson really starting to get in rhythm with his offensive line. Already over 100 yards rushing on the day, but showing the patience and the persistence, and then the leg drive after contact. It's just been a load here today.
And Willie Anderson told us the offensive line's rhythm should be better today. Jerry Fontenot was just thrown into the mix because of the injuries to Bram and Larry Moore. Now they've rediscovered that rhythm. On the short toss to Houshmandzadeh. And no gain on the play. Not a great throw by Palmer. Saw one earlier to Tony Stewart. This one to Houshmandzadeh, and now they face a 3rd and 4.
But an interesting play call, because Steelers were loaded up at the line of scrimmage, looking to blitz every gap, trying to get the ball out of the hands of the quarterback. Dick LeBeau calling an aggressive game, trying to force the quarterback to make a mistake.
Fans trying to get into it here in the second half. Under a minute to go on the 3rd. Cincinnati leading by 3. Palmer, rush coming, gets rid of it, incomplete. In the direction of Matt Schobel. And the Steelers defense holds. 4th down, Cincinnati.
This is what you want on a blitz. Bring more than they can block. Force the quarterback to throw it. If he doesn't throw it, he's going to have to take a sack. But that time, Palmer did get rid of the football. Schobel wasn't prepared to make the catch. Didn't get his head around and find the football.
Antoine Randall, the return man, Kyle Larson, will punt it, standing at its own 45-yard line. Trying to place this one inside the 10, and it's caught just outside of the 10 by Randall. Pittsburgh will have it with a 1st and 10 deep in their own territory. Tonight, 60 Minutes. How does Bill Parcells turn losers into winners? Only one way to find out. Watch 60 Minutes tonight, followed by the season premiere of Cold Case. Then, Seal Award stars in Suburban Madness. It's all here tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. We'll spot the football at the 11. 44 seconds remain in this 3rd quarter. Cincinnati got a touchdown, first possession of the 3rd. And that's been the difference here with the Bengals in front 17-14. Draw play. Staley. And Deuce Staley again handling contact and getting extra yardage. 5 yards on 1st down on the ground.
Much better job by Deuce Staley protecting the football with the free hand upon contact, something he has to do a better job of. Already 2 fumbles in the game, and really the Bengals defense has played very well here in the second half. Been much stronger at the point of attack, where we saw them getting knocked off the ball in the running game earlier in the game. They've gotten better as the game has gone on.
2nd and 5 for the Steelers. Final moments of this 3rd quarter. Roethlisberger standing tall in the pocket and throwing too high for Plexico Burress. No flag thrown. Deltha O'Neal the coverage.
O'Neal was in tight coverage with Burress, and there appeared to be some bumping going on, but it's rather inadvertent. That's how the officials saw it, as accidental. But he was certainly in the hip pocket as Burress came out of his cut. And O'Neal has been a huge addition to this secondary. See the cut? He comes out, and see it was that hand right there. There was contact, but I don't know if Burress could have made that catch anyway. The ball was maybe some 10 yards up the football field.
Deltha O'Neal went to the Pro Bowl in 2001, had 9 interceptions that year, and then fell into Mike Shanahan's doghouse in Denver. 1 second remains in the 3rd, and Pittsburgh will use a timeout. They want to make sure that they're on the same page for the final play of the quarter. Well, the MetLife blimp. Great visuals here today in Pittsburgh. Snoopy 2 is under the command of Captain Matthew St. John with help from co-pilot Snoopy. They're working hard to provide these aerial shots of today's Steelers game against the Bengals, and we appreciate their presence here in the Steel City today.
Not sure if it's a good use of the timeout. You're going to get a timeout anyway. Why are you but you need maybe one more second. That's a timeout that the Steelers could use late in this ball game. I'm not sure if that was a good use of one of them.
Well, you got to run a play, and that's the thinking, obviously. And on a 3rd and 5, Ben Roethlisberger trying to make sure that he knows exactly what the coaching staff wants to do here. 17-14 Cincinnati. Bill Cowher 17-7 in his career against the Bengals, but right now it's the Steelers trailing. Late 3rd quarter, final play until we get to the 4th. Over the middle, it's complete for a first down. Hines Ward. And that is how the 3rd quarter will end. They get 6 yards and a new set of downs as we start playing the 4th. 17-14. Bengals lead it. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcots, the rest of our CBS crew, we welcome you back to Pittsburgh. Start of the 4th quarter with the Bengals leading at 17-14 after the first down throw from Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger will throw to Ward again. Complete. Torrey James in coverage. It's 9 yards on the pass play and a 2nd and 1 upcoming.
Well, Big Ben doing a good job of keeping his composure. And watch Hines Ward. You see him come back underneath Torrey James. Got a little push off there, got away with it, but he's going to play very aggressive as a wide receiver. He's going to use his hands to try to get open.
Line of scrimmage is the 31. 4-man front for Cincinnati. On the pitch, Staley, who has coughed it up twice today. And Staley is strung out along that sideline. Brian Simmons. Good play from the linebacker position, and he looks to be a little short.
Excellent play by Simmons there, but the Bengals defense has swarmed to the ball while Deuce Staley has been carrying it. Delton O'Neal stripping Deuce Staley of the ball there. Then Dwayne Clemens come in. See there from the backside, getting a hand in. So not only are they conscious of making the tackle, but understanding that you can strip the ball carrier of the ball, make a big play for your defense is gone a long way to help the Cincinnati Bengals on the other side of the ball.
3rd and less than a yard now for Pittsburgh. Double tight end set, Tuman and Riemersma. Staley gets the call. First down and more. Staley remaining on his feet across the 45 as the pile is pushed forward by Alan Faneca, the perennial Pro Bowler.
This ball almost goes even further, but D.U. Williams makes the tackle. See, they'll come here, and this is where he's going to hit it. Coming right off the left side of that Pittsburgh Steeler line. See him cutting it back right there. See the hole? And D.U. Williams, that hand right there on the collar of Deuce kept him from taking this one all the way to the house.
They line it up at the 47-yard line. And Deuce Staley, 99 yards on the ground this afternoon. Into the bag of tricks. Staley hands to Hines Ward. Around the end, and Ward, extra effort out near first down yardage. D.U. Williams trying to bring him down along the sideline.
Well, he is a different kind of wide receiver. Very physical. You can do so many things with it. We talked about him doing the dirty work. Yeah, he'll block for you. He'll run the ball. But you see, he'll come down here in motion. He'll end up coming back the other way on the reverse. And see, watch the defensive end, number 90 right there. Once you're able to get him trapped inside, then it's 10 yards up the line, the sideline, I should say, but D.U. Williams making the tackle.
And a new set of downs for Pittsburgh to work with. 1st and 10 at the 43. Roethlisberger slings one out to the perimeter. And Jay Riemersma hauls it in. Riemersma, first catch of the season for him. It covers 7 yards.
This is what you're going to see when the offensive coordinator, Whisenhunt, is making the calls. He's going to try to get you off balance, some misdirection. You had the reverse play, and then they start going one way, then bring Riemersma over to the other side, able to catch him in the flat. So right now they have the Bengals defense off balance and able to make some plays.
Whisenhunt, a former tight end himself in the NFL, got the job when Mike Mularkey left to be the head coach at Buffalo. Bill Cowher telling us he wanted to promote from within. Staley. First down for Deuce Staley. Brian Simmons the stop for Cincinnati. That's a 5-yard gain. Staley has gone over 100 for the second consecutive week.
So the plays are coming in chunks now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it started with the running game. Deuce was able to rip off a run earlier in the drive. Then they were able to get the reverse to Hines Ward, mix in a little passing to Riemersma, and now back to Deuce. So, you know, they're ahead of the game right now. 9 plays, 60 yards, holding the ball for 4 minutes on this drive.
10th play of the drive from the 31-yard line. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. Bengals leading at 17-14. Staley again. Gaping hole, and Staley has a first down out near the 15. Jeff Harding's the center, right up the middle.
Give credit to the Pittsburgh Steelers sticking with the run. They'll gape them and gash them right here. It goes right up the middle, right up the heart of the defense. Now, see, watch the defensive tackles. Number 94, Tony Williams, getting knocked off the ball. Doesn't get touched until he gets to the second level by the safety and the linebacker, Kevin Hardy. They're not able to make the tackle. Deuce is running really hard right now.
Jerome Bettis in the backfield on a 1st and 10. It's Bettis trying to jump on it. He could not handle the pitch, and he got it back. The future Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis nearly turned that one over.
Oh, they dodge a bullet here. This ball's pitched right to him, and you know, Jerome may have had his eyes up the field, but that's what happens when you're a little cold, hadn't played since the first quarter, when he rushed for a touchdown, then comes in. You know, it's just one of those things about a running back getting into rhythm. Come in, only get one play, and then forced to sit out the rest of the game.
The inactivity, trying to get the rust off in a toss situation. Now Verron Haynes is in there. Roethlisberger on 2nd and long. Up top, jump ball. Burris cannot bring it in against Torrey James, and a flag throw.
We've seen this contest a number of times today. Burris matched up against Torrey James, and there has been contact.
Pass interference, defense, number 20. Foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal.
Now, I don't know about this one, because watch Torrey James. He does get his head turned around. Now, see, watch, once he finds the ball, he's able to make a play. Now, where was that pass interference? I'm not seeing it. See, his head is around. And if anything, Burris pushed him in the back, tried to throw him forward. I don't agree with this call at all, because I thought James was in perfect position to make a play, and I thought Burris used his hands to push James in the back.
Pivotal penalty. Pittsburgh looking to regain the lead. Bettis cannot plow through that pile. Justin Smith in on the stop for the Bengals. It'll be 2nd and goal now for Pittsburgh.
I think the official's going to have to do a better job of understanding. Once you see contact, you have to understand who initiated the contact. And I think that's where they're getting caught up in just assuming that it had to be the defensive back when you see two guys sort of tangled up together. I thought the Bengals got really the bad end of that call.
13th play of the drive. 3 tight ends now in there for Pittsburgh. Bettis gets the call. Bettis diving forward. Did he get it? Yes! Touchdown, Steelers.
You know when Jerome Bettis comes into the game, it's not going to be a pass play. He's down on the goal line for one reason. That is to punch it in for a touchdown. His 5th so far in 4 games this season.
13 plays, 89 yards for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger made a big 3rd down throw early in this drive. Last play of the 3rd quarter, in fact, to keep it going as Jeff Reed tacks on the point after. It is capped off by the bus, his 2nd touchdown of the day. Pittsburgh back in front in the 4th. Torrey James, cornerback for the Bengals, still thinking about the pass interference call in the corner of the end zone. That gave Pittsburgh a 1st and goal situation. They punched it in on 2nd and goal with Jerome Bettis his second touchdown of the day. Houshmandzadeh on the return. Now Cincinnati looking to come from behind. And Houshmandzadeh is tackled out across the 25-yard line by James Harrison. The Bus. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Singular Wireless, the United States Army, an army of one, and by the new 4-for-All pizza. Everyone gets the toppings they want, and it's only at Pizza Hut.
Rejoining you in Pittsburgh, Deuce Staley having a chat with members of the medical staff during that break in the action as Cincinnati takes over a 1st and 10 at the 27, trailing 21-17. Rudi Johnson trying to bust it to the outside, and Johnson's got the angle out of bounds at the 42. Cliff Russell, the wide receiver, with a block. It's a 15-yard gain for Rudi.
So both running backs are getting hot in this game. We've seen Deuce Staley go over 100 yards, and now on 24 carries, Rudi Johnson is really rolling for this Bengals offense, getting the ball going. And now look for him to make a play with Palmer, but I think you have to be conservative, protect the football, continue to use the run game to help your young quarterback.
A shift in this set for Cincinnati with Johnson and Johnson in the backfield. Play action. Palmer. Little fake, and Palmer will duck out of bounds. He was hit by Polamalu. Former roommates at USC. They shared a house. 7 roommates in that house. Not the nicest house, as Palmer shared with us yesterday, but it worked for them.
And Polamalu showed the closing speed you'd like to see from a defensive back. Boy, can he run, and he didn't hesitate. Didn't break down, didn't go for the fake by Palmer. Said, hey, you can throw it, but I'm going to hit you.
And a 2nd and 9 for the Bengals. From the 43, they'll use a timeout. Cincinnati uses its first timeout of the second half. They've got 2 remaining. Will return to Pittsburgh after these words. Fans are trying to get fired up here in the 4th quarter at Heinz Field. Pittsburgh 21, Cincinnati 17, 8:04 remaining. The Bengals with a 2nd and 9 at their own 43. After the timeout, Palmer has the protection and the safety valve, Jeremy Johnson. Gang tackled out near the sideline by the Steelers, and they pick up 3. Foote and Scott combining to bring him down. Time for an NFL Today update. We head to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Ian, 17-9 Indy lead at Jacksonville. 4th and 1. Byron Leftwich, 40 yards down the sideline to Jimmy Smith. They'll go for the 2-point conversion. Watch this catch in the end zone by Brian Jones. He held on to it. It's a tie game coming up on 4 minutes to play, guys.
Greg, Byron Leftwich has a little 4th quarter magic in that arm.
Every game, all he's done is made plays when his team needed it the most in the 4th quarter.
Big 3rd and 6 for Cincinnati. Palmer. It's dropped by Houshmandzadeh. He would have had a first down.
Wow. Houshmandzadeh was working very hard to get open as he came off the coverage. He turned around. I think that ball got on top of him before he could focus to haul it in. And he's working over on the left side. And watch him come off the coverage there and see he's able to get those hands out there, but not enough to haul the pass in from Carson Palmer.
So it brings out Kyle Larson in the punting unit in what was a critical 3rd down, a huge play. Houshmandzadeh unable to bring it in cleanly. Antoine Randall returnable from the 18. Randall circling. Randall with flags down. Antoine Randall trying to bust through and brought down at the 42-yard line by Matt Schobel, but a number of flags came flying down at the beginning of that return and then in the middle.
Boy, is he exciting. Started out, looked like he had an open field to his left. Bengals did rally, and then he broke it back to the other side, made several guys miss.
There are 2 fouls during the return. Holding, receiving team, number 27. Illegal block in the back, receiving team, number 24. That penalty's declined. 10-yard penalty for the other one. First down. Timeout.
Willie Williams and Ike Taylor called on penalties, and there we get the Cowher growl.
The chin.
The 22-yard return. Call back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pepsi. It's the Cola. And by IBM, the official on-demand business consultants for the NFL.
Back in Pittsburgh, Steelers do the job defensively. Now on offense, Deuce Staley, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and he's watching from the sidelines. Jerome Bettis is out there right now as the featured back for the Steelers. 7:01 to go in the fourth. And Bettis trying to move the pile. He does for 4 yards. Caleb Miller combining with Justin Smith to bring him down. Well, 2 new features this season here on CBS. We've got Stat Tracks and Game Tracks. Game Tracks you're seeing at the bottom of your screen. Updated scores from around the league. And Stat Tracks at the top of your screen. Jerome Bettis, 5 carries, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. And we're keeping you updated from all angles this season here on CBS. 6.5 to go in the fourth. 2nd and 6. Fake the handoff to Bettis. Roethlisberger sold it well. High throw, hauled in by Burris, and a first down. He is out of bounds at the 29-yard line.
It all started with the play-action fake to Jerome Bettis. As you see Deuce Staley waiting to get back into the game. There's the play fake right there, and they're going to bring Plexico Burris all the way across the formation, going behind Brian Simmons and in front of the secondary. So it all started with the potential run fake with JB.
As Staley watches from the sideline, Bettis remains in there on a 1st and 10 now at the 29. 4th catch of the day for Plexico Burris. Here's Bettis. Jerome Bettis, 7-yard gain up the gut. Hardings and Vincent with some good blocks up front.
Jerome Bettis has been a Bengal killer over the course of his career. Wondering why he might be in the game. See so far this season at home what he has done. But the 5 touchdowns are significant. But he's a guy that's had some tremendous success in his career against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bettis, 10 career 100-yard games against Cincinnati. Roethlisberger using as much time as necessary to use up the clock here in the fourth quarter. Fake on the pitch. Inside handoff, Randall L. And Cincinnati sniffed it out. It's a loss of 1 on the play. Brian Simmons along with John Thornton to bring him down. And now it sets up a 3rd and 4.
Well, you were used to seeing a lot of these plays when Mike Mularkey was the offensive coordinator here, but Ken Wisenhunt, he was, he coached here for 3 years along with Mike Mularkey and can still pull out a trick or two. And anytime you see Antoine Randall in that backfield or close to the ball, you can expect something tricky.
A first down here, and that means Pittsburgh will be able to use more clock. A stop here for Cincinnati. And the Bengals will have a chance to come down the field and possibly win this game. Handoff. Haynes, first down on the acceleration. Out to midfield. Veron Haynes, a strong, powerful back. 14 yards and a new set of downs for Pittsburgh. We head to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Ian will give you a look at a pretty good back in his own right in Jacksonville. Edgerrin James from 3 yards out finds the way into the end zone to break a 17-all tie. Indy goes on top, 24-17, under 3.5 to play at Alltel Stadium.
Well, a strong answer for a strong offense in Jacksonville. Pittsburgh right now just looking to hold on. 21-17, they lead it. A 1st and 10 with 3:36 remaining in the fourth from midfield. Deuce Staley back in there. And Staley on a spin with a flag down. Kevin Hardy and Tony Williams.
Offense. Number 60. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, there is no number 60. But Bill Cowher is searching in his mind for a number 60.
Who could that be? Bill Cowher asked. We have no 60.
Well, film doesn't lie, Solomon, and unfortunately for somebody on Monday morning, they're going to hear it. Probably 68, Kedrick Vincent on that right side.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to look to put this game away. Yeah, they're going to have to maybe make a pass here or there, but you see third down conversions they've been good at, but consistently running the football.
A 1st and 20 with 3.5 to go. Staley clutches onto the ball. He put it on the ground twice today as Miller and Williams collaborate on the stop. A 3-yard gain. Clock is moving as we approach 3 minutes to go here in the 4th.
The Steelers have had a committee of running backs all contributing today. Teron Hayes, you saw him pick up the first down on a huge third down play, and we know about Jerome Bettis punching it in for the touchdowns, but Deuce Staley is 24 carries, 120 yards. He's had the bulk of the work, but all three combined have been very productive.
Now a 2nd and 17. Cincinnati letting time trickle away here. With 2:45 left. Staley. Justin Smith tried to grab the ball as a flag comes down. And Staley goes down quickly. Another penalty marker. 7 today against Pittsburgh. Now make it number 8 against the Steelers. They came in averaging 4 penalties per game through the first 3 weeks. They've doubled it here this afternoon.
Holding. Offense. Number 86. Penalties decline. Third down.
Yeah, smart to turn it down because Pittsburgh, that would give them another play to just use up clock.
And that's what the Bengals have to do defensively. They have to get the ball back for their offense. Very much in it at this point. They have to make a play. Get the ball back for your offense, and if you can get it on a short field by way of a turnover, it would be huge for this football team.
3rd and 14. They converted on a big third down moments ago. This one's going to be a bigger challenge. Roethlisberger faked the short toss to the left side, throws it on the other side to Haynes, and Cincinnati drives him backwards. John Thornton for the Bengals. It's a loss of 2, and now they'll use a timeout. 2:27 to go in the 4th. Cincinnati has 1 timeout remaining, and Pittsburgh is forced to punt.
Well, they'll have plenty of time. The key is going to be field position and be able to make a play on the punt return.
Coming up tonight here on CBS, get things started with 60 Minutes. How does Bill Parcells turn losers into winners? There's only one way to find out. Watch 60 Minutes tonight. Followed by the season premiere of Cold Case. Then Sela Ward stars in Suburban Madness. It's all here tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. Marvin Lewis, his team lost a close game in week 1 against the Jets. They come back and beat Miami in week 2, only to lose at home to Baltimore last week 23-9. He has seen the offense show some improvement here this week. They couldn't get it into the end zone the last couple of weeks. That's changed here today, and now after the Gardocki punt, Houshmandzadeh a chance to put them in good field position. No, over his head, and bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So a 56-yard punt, a net of 36, and Cincinnati will have to go 80 yards to take the lead here in the late stages of the 4th quarter.
And what did Carson Palmer tell us when we met with him yesterday? He said, one thing that I found out is how hard it is to win in the National Football League. The margin of victory is very slim. Said you nearly have to be perfect, can't assume anything on any given week. If he has a chance here to bring his team back. We saw him with this opportunity week 1 against the Jets. Threw the interception. Week 2 had the opportunity. Drove him down to get the winning field goal.
He also told us first couple of games coaches didn't want to put him in a tough position, tough situation. Well, whether he likes it or not, he's facing one here. 2:15 to go in the 4th. And intercepted! Picked off by his former roommate at USC, Troy Polamalu. Polamalu is still on his feet. Touchdown, Pittsburgh!
Wow.
A sea of yellow here at Heinz Field. Troy Polamalu had it interception last week, backs it up with another one this week. A 26-yard return for the touchdown.
And during the last offensive possession by the Steelers, Bill Cowher had the defenders for Pittsburgh huddled up. He was drawing up plays. You had a sense he knew something was going on. Carson Palmer makes the crucial mistake like what we saw in week 1 against the Jets. The interception slams the door shut on their opportunity to come away with a win.
Well, as a young quarterback, you are going to learn lessons each week. The problem for Palmer, as Reed adds the extra point, in the 2 tight games they've played where they've fallen short, it's been Palmer that's made the mistake.
And look at Polamalu just reading the eyes of the quarterback, sliding down the line, getting into the throwing lane, and then you talk about missed tackles. There's one missed tackle, and these are offensive guys, but you cannot allow him to get into the end zone for a touchdown because that really puts the game away, and he runs over so many people, including his former roommate, Carson Palmer, to punch it in for the touchdown.
And I got to tell you, Solomon, when Polamalu comes up with a pick, my first instinct is go down. Don't even start chancing it. And obviously, Polamalu's got other plans, and he goes 26 yards for the score.
Had an interception last week, the first of his NFL career against the Dolphins, and gets his second here today. And, you know, he wanted it to be something special. He's reading the eyes of Carson Palmer. See if it takes you to where the ball is. And that's where Troy Polamalu makes the interception. But, boy, is he athletic. We already talked about what a hard hitter he is, but showing some quickness and ability once he makes the interception.
Cliff Russell is now deep for Cincinnati to return this kick. The Bengals had to go 80 yards to take the lead. And on the first play of the possession, Palmer is picked off, and Polamalu takes it the other way for 6. An 11-point Pittsburgh lead now with 2:03 left to play in the 4th. It's Russell and Watson deep for Cincinnati. This will be Cliff Russell on the return. And Russell crosses the 25, and that's it. Willie Williams, first man there for Pittsburgh. We've hit the 2-minute warning. Troy Polamalu looks like he's put this one on ice. Pittsburgh native Marvin Lewis grew up just 13 miles from here, out near the airport in McDonald, Pennsylvania. And not the kind of homecoming he envisioned this afternoon, with his team now down 28-17 after the Troy Polamalu interception return for a touchdown. Carson Palmer, under 2 minutes to go, and Palmer throws to Kenny Watson. And Watson able to get out of bounds. It's a gain of 6 on first down. Coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, up next, they play Cleveland at home. And look at all the home games. They do go to Dallas. That's one of the great rivalries in the NFL, even though it's interconference. But, yeah, tough games after that. New England and Philadelphia, both here at Heinz Field.
3 of their next 4 at home, including having a bye week. So certainly a critical point in their schedule where they have to start winning some games if they're going to factor in trying to win the division.
2nd and 4 for the Bengals. And a flag comes down.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Cincinnati, they've got a bye week coming up, so a win here would have carried them through 2 weeks inside their training facility. But instead, they've got to look forward to the game at Cleveland on October the 17th. Solomon, just give me some general thoughts on Carson Palmer. And I'm not sure what the expectation level was in the city of Cincinnati as Palmer is under duress. Able to throw on the run, and it's incomplete. He is, for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback trying to guide this team that surprised some people last year and went 8-8.
Marvin Lewis has come out and said he's not going to allow one guy to hold back the football team. They do have a number of injuries on the defensive side. We talked about their inability to stop the run. Again, Deuce Staley went over 100 yards rushing today. So Carson Palmer doesn't play defense. Neither can Jon Kitna. So there are other areas of this football team that they do have to fix if they are going to go to the playoffs. And I think Marvin Lewis knows that. Not going to say it publicly, but he knows if we're going to continue to grow as a football team, then why not give Carson Palmer the opportunity to grow and get some playing experience?
Palmer throwing to T.J. Houshmandzadeh. Houshmandzadeh could not bring in an earlier ball on a critical third down. This time he does haul it in for 10 yards and a first down for Cincinnati.
And I think the question you have to ask, and I know Marvin Lewis is grappling with this, is Jon Kitna good enough to overcome what we lack defensively? Can he still carry us to the next level if we can't stop the run and play dominating defense? You know, Marvin Lewis wants to play that dominating defensive style like what he did with the Baltimore Ravens. Don't quite have the pieces of the puzzle to do that. And so if you're still continuing to grow with a team, you have to allow a young quarterback to grow. And by the time they get the other parts of the puzzle together, then guess what? Carson Palmer is going to be a more mature, more experienced player.
So is your feeling that Carson Palmer should remain as the starter, or are you starting to think that maybe Kitna should get the opportunity?
Well, let's face it. Oh, I think this ball may be intercepted.
It was Chad Scott off the deflection. It bounced off of Kelly Washington. And that will do it here in Pittsburgh with 1:06 to go in the fourth.
Well, it's going to go down as an interception for Carson Palmer. This ball is going to be thrown, look, right to Kelly Washington. Makes the grab. Look, it's on his chest.
Yep.
And it hops off his chest right into the hands of Chad Scott. So it should be interception by Kelly Washington.
Let's just finish up on that point. Kitna or Palmer right now?
Well, at this point in time last year, after 4 games, they were 1-3 with Jon Kitna. And so I don't know that Carson Palmer has done any worse than what you got from a more experienced quarterback in Jon Kitna last year. And I don't think that Carson Palmer's played his way out of a job. Let's face it, they were going to go through some growing pains, and I don't think the kid has accounted for himself that poorly. Certainly a costly interception today. Same thing in week 1, but he has made enough plays to help this team win games also.
The executive producers of the NFL on CBS, Sean McManus and Tony Battiti. Today's game produced by Bob Dekas, directed by Larry Cavallina. Senior producer of CBS Sports and the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The director, Bob Matina. Coordinating producer of CBS Sports, Harold Bryant. Associate director of today's game, Andy Kaplan. Broadcast associates, Josh Hall and Julie Landa. Technical manager, Rick Godwin. Technical director, Norm Patterson. Audio supervisor, Phil Adler. We thank everybody involved on our CBS crew here today. And that's going to do it. The Pittsburgh Steelers open up 3-1 on the season. Troy Polamalu put this one away with an interception return for a touchdown. Bill Cowher has his team headed in the right direction once again as the Steelers win it 28-17 over the Bengals. For Solomon Wilcox, this is Ian Eagle. Thanks so much for joining us. Greg Gumbel and the rest of the crew coming up after these words on CBS.